Let's head to the Nasdaq. See Christopher Dearborn, Managing Director at the Market Intelligence Desk. We're sitting near highs. Things seem to be going pretty smoothly with Apple breaking back out. Chris, is that going to open up the floodgates for those feeling confident to join the public ranks of companies?
Oliver, glad to be back. Thanks again for having us. You know what? It's been a pretty good IPO year when all things considered. We had 5 IPOs last week, raised about $1.2 billion. You had multiple sectors across multiple geographies. It's pretty good numbers right now. You got to go back to 2021 before you saw this type of environment, both in May and in June. Apple's price action is always positive, but then, that brings us back to the question of, is the market kind of top heavy?
When you look at that right now, the concentration suggests it is, but it's also where all the growth is, and these companies seem to be sucking up all the productivity, the growth. So is it necessarily a bad thing?
It's a flight to quality right now. If you look at the S&P 500, it's had a fantastic run, made an all-time high just yesterday. The Nasdaq 100, which kind of mimics, especially on the tech side, that doing the same sort of thing. When you look at the companies that are driving it, you're looking at that AI tailwind and the other sectors that have benefited. Utilities is having a great year as well based on that. But when you look at the companies that are in it, the top 3 companies in the S&P 500 have a market cap that's equivalent to about the bottom 350 of the S&P 500. So when you look at that movement, the market cap weighting is significant. So when you have a company that's up largely like Apple today, and you're looking at the price action, their weighting in the index is carrying that index to a positive note right here into the close, as you're seeing in the Nasdaq as well. And that's why you see indexes like the Dow, where it is price weighted, not market cap weighted, struggling, where right now you only have 8 or 9 companies in the green as opposed to the balance in the red.
Yeah, the kind of shorthand way that we've been thinking about it is just the Russell versus the big caps, the way you go into the small cap arena and things remain pretty pinned and very soft. I do wonder, with AI's disruptive nature and the concentration of the market in the big caps flowing up towards those, are there any has there been any kind of harsh revaluation in private markets, Chris? Is there anything that keeps companies from looking at their kind of advantage as tech businesses and going, well, now we got to compete with like AI? Because some of these small companies seem to be pretty disrupted.
They do. We have 85 deals so far this year across all the different markets here in the U.S., raising about $17 billion, of which 48 operating companies here on Nasdaq took place, raising about $7 billion. You've got a couple of nice-sized companies coming up at the end of the week going public, which are disruptive. Tempest and Telix are looking to raise about $600 million between the two. That's a pretty good number here. We're both going to be on site here at Nasdaq. I'm not sure if you're even aware of that, but our team does open all the IPOs that come here to Nasdaq. So the few of us who are here are going to interact with those companies and find out a little bit more about them. The filings, they're strong, right? You're looking at over 180 companies in the active pipeline. Again, like I said before, this is right now the best 2 months so far since 2021. Granted, the pace and the largeness of the companies isn't the same. 2021 was a phenomenal year on the listing sides, but things are getting better. And when you look at what's getting better, companies are coming to market. They want to raise capital. They want to be part of the public domain. We're here to welcome them. But, you got to go back to the 2 other items, and I'm sure everyone's been talking about this all day. It comes down to CPI and the Fed tomorrow morning. That's going to be driving both, basically fueling expectation for monetary policy, and that's going to fuel expectations for where the market's going to be over the next couple of weeks. But right now, the IPO market is strong, and it feels really good.
All right. Love that. Love that energy. And, hey, little 6 degrees. Tempest is the floor below us in Chicago. Right? That's the SoftBank.
Tempest AI.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they didn't. I don't know if they used to have AI in their name, but I think they do now. I might go knock on their door, see if I can get that answer. Great stuff, Chris. All right. Thanks for the time.
All right.
Appreciate the schedule, too. Coming public later this week. All right. We got to get on that. Chris Dearborn, Managing Director at Nasdaq.